flickering gaslight cast long, dancing shadows across the grand foyer. Rain lashed against the windows of Blackwood Manor, each gust of wind sounding like a mournful cry. I adjusted my deerstalker cap, my gaze sweeping over the dust-sheeted furniture and the cobwebs that clung to the chandeliers like ghostly shrouds. Dr. Watson stood beside me, his hand clutching a revolver, his face a mask of nervous apprehension. "Holmes," he began, his voice barely a whisper above the storm, "I must confess, this place gives me the chills. The stories, they say no one who spends a night here lives to see the dawn." I smiled faintly, tapping my pipe against my palm. "My dear Watson, stories are merely data points, often corrupted by emotion and superstition. We are here to uncover facts, not to be swayed by local folklore." Our client, a trembling Lord Harrington, had implored us to investigate the strange happenings at his ancestral home. Disembodied whispers, objects moving on their own, and a spectral lady in white were just a few of the phenomena that had driven his staff away and made the manor uninhabitable. He believed it was the ghost of his great-aunt, Lady Eleanor, who had vanished from the house a century ago. "The case is straightforward, Watson," I declared, striding towards a large, imposing portrait of a stern-looking woman. "Either Blackwood Manor is genuinely haunted, a first in my career, or a very clever human is orchestrating this charade. I am betting on the latter." As if on cue, a chilling wail echoed from the upper floor. Watson jumped, his eyes wide. Simultaneously, the heavy oak doors of the foyer slammed shut, the sound reverberating through the hall like a clap of thunder. We were trapped. "It appears our host is eager to begin the performance," I remarked calmly, pulling a magnifying glass from my coat pocket. "Let us not disappoint them. The game, as they say, is afoot." We made our way up the grand staircase, the floorboards groaning under our weight. Each step seemed to heighten the oppressive atmosphere. The first room we entered was the library. Books lay scattered on the floor, torn from their shelves. But something was amiss. "Observe, Watson," I said, pointing to a pile of books near the fireplace. "These books are all on specific subjects: local geology, architectural blueprints of the manor, and the history of mining in the region. Not the random act of a poltergeist, but a deliberate search for information." My eyes scanned the room, noting the faint scuff marks on the floor near a large bookshelf. I ran my fingers along the spines of the books, then pushed against the shelf itself. It didn't budge. Curious. The scuff marks suggest movement, yet it is immovable. I knelt down, examining the floor more closely. Ah, but look here. The floorboards are newer than the rest. A recent repair, or something more? A sudden, gut-wrenching scream tore through the silence, this time much closer. It came from the end of the hallway. We rushed out of the library, Watson leading with his pistol raised. The scream had come from what was once the master bedroom. The door was slightly ajar. Inside, the room was in disarray. A four-poster bed stood in the center, its curtains ripped. But the source of our attention was a message scrawled on the fogged-up mirror of a vanity table. "Get out." The writing was shaky, as if written by a trembling hand. Watson shuddered. "Holmes, this is no trick. Who could have done this? We're the only ones here." "Are we?" I replied, leaning in to examine the mirror. I didn't look at the words, but at the condensation around them. The air in this room is cold, yet this patch of mirror is fogged. That requires warm, moist air, like a human breath, directed at the glass just moments ago. I pointed to a small smudge near the bottom of the writing. "And this is not ectoplasm, my friend. It appears to be a trace of grease paint." Our investigation was interrupted again, this time by a low, guttural growl that seemed to emanate from the walls themselves. It was followed by a series of loud bangs, as if someone was pounding on the walls from within. "The passages," I muttered, my mind racing. "The blueprints I saw in the library. They showed a network of servants' passages running through the walls, obsolete and sealed off according to the plans, or so we were meant to believe. We followed the sounds down the corridor, back towards the main staircase. The banging grew louder, more frantic, culminating in a final, deafening crash. Then, silence. As we reached the landing, we saw it. A section of the wall near the staircase had crumbled, revealing a dark, narrow opening, a secret passage. Our ghost has become rather careless, I observed, peering into the darkness. This was not part of the plan. An accident, perhaps? I lit a match, its small flame pushing back the oppressive darkness. The passage was tight and dusty. We ventured inside, the air thick with the smell of damp earth and decay. It sloped downwards, leading us into the belly of the manor. After a few minutes of careful navigation, the passage opened into a small, natural cavern. In the center of the cavern, illuminated by the beam of Watson's electric torch, was a man. He was lying on the ground, his leg trapped beneath a pile of fallen rocks from a small cave-in. Beside him was a lantern, a box of grease paint, and a strange-looking contraption of pipes and bellows. He looked up at us, his face pale with pain and fear. It was Lord Harrington's estranged younger brother, Charles. "The game is up, Mr. Harrington," I said, my voice echoing in the cavern. Charles grimaced. "Holmes, I should have known my brother would call you." Watson was dumbfounded. But the ghost, the sounds, the screams, all a meticulously crafted illusion, I explained, gesturing around the cave. This cavern connects to the old mining tunnels that run beneath the property, a fact Charles discovered by studying the books in the library. He used the old servants' passages, which he'd secretly reopened, to move through the house unseen. "The wails and growls produced by this clever device," I said, tapping the bellows and pipes. "Simple acoustics, amplified by the house's structure." He slammed doors with hidden ropes, moved objects with fine wires, and left his spooky messages after breathing on a mirror. His goal was to scare his brother into selling the estate for a pittance. I looked at Charles. "You knew the land was far more valuable than the house itself because of the unexploited coal seams beneath it, a fact you intended to keep to yourself. But your theatrics got the better of you. The storm must have weakened the supports in this old passage, causing the cave-in. Your desperate pounding was not for supernatural effect, but a genuine cry for help." Charles Harrington sighed, defeated. "It would have worked if it wasn't for you." "Indeed," I replied, turning to Watson. "You see, my dear friend, every ghost story has a rational explanation. The only spirits at play in Blackwood Manor were those of greed and deception. With the mystery solved and Charles apprehended for his fraudulent scheme, we left Blackwood Manor as the morning sun broke through the clouds, washing away the last of the night's gloom. The house stood silent, no longer haunted by a spectral lady, but by the simple logical truth. Thank you for joining me on this chilling adventure. If you enjoyed unraveling this mystery, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more tales of logic and deduction. Until next time.